Hello, and a great afternoon to you, our audience, for joining us for a conversation that I am particularly excited about. We have scheduled this a month ago to tell you how important it is. My name is Funmilola Adedeji Bajulaiye OET. I'm the president of ACO Global and host of Drawing Board. Today, we're having an all important conversation that has touch points in real estate, franchising, consumer markets, financial markets. And in fact, we expect that the impact of this conversation will lead to prosperity in our African continent. The reason why I'm excited is because my guest is indeed an august individual. He is the president of FIABCI. Most of us do not know that the organization is of French origin, a headquarters in Paris, and it's an association of real estate veterans, those who are both developers of luxury building, residential, commercial. They've all come together around the world. One of the things that is unique about Mr. I won't tell you his name yet, is that I find him on so many platforms for economic development. He's always with one governor or one president taking pictures every other day. And so to have him on the floor with us today, I am so excited. He's also the CEO of Olawale Jordan, which is his own real estate company. Without much ado, I'll be bringing up Mr. Akin Opatola on stage with us this afternoon. Great afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, Fumi. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm excited to be sharing my thoughts on this amazing topic.
Thank you so much. You know, before we came on stage, I reconfirmed to myself that you are the right person to be talking to about this conversation, all important conversation on how to position your real estate business in the African franchise market that is developing. And because it's a market that is developing from the production side, it's something that we needed to, at CEO Drawing Board, intentionally wake up all the players to say, look, this market is opening and we need to prepare our contribution. You have been in the real estate. I've not met a person who studied real estate. Let me say that. So you've been in the real estate industry. You've studied it. You've acted it. You've also introduced the financial side of it, and you have emerged the right leader of president at FIABCI. Tell us a bit about your journey into these roles, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. First of all, I started my career about maybe 20 years ago in real estate. I read real estate in school. I was passionate about it. Did about 2 years of internship.
Okay.
Very popular. I call him my mentor, Joe Ahibe. So I started off very well. Then when I wanted to get married, I thought of it that, whoa, real estate will be tough. At the time, monthly salary was low. I was just getting into the business. So closing deals, getting huge commissions was tough. So I now pivoted to banking. My brother assisted at the time. He had worked in Fidelity Bank. So he pushed my name forward and I started off my career in Skybank. Was in Skybank for about 10 years before I now left for Access now, but then it was Diamond Bank. So I did about 12 years in financial services. I liked it. I was doing very well. Promotion was coming rapidly, but my main passion and joy was real estate. So during that period, I was doing all my certifications, professional exams, and when the time was right, according to me, I was able to jump ship back into real estate, which is my first love. I worked for another, real estate company for a few years before I decided to set up mine. About 9 years ago, a senior colleague introduced me to a professional real estate association, which is FIABCI. I currently belong to close to 30 different real estate associations. But the one that is extremely close to me is I'm a member of the African Real Estate Society and, of course, FIABCI. FIABCI gives me the opportunity to learn, network, and of course, travel, which I've
Travel the
liked.
world.
Yes. So 2 years ago, I was opportuned to become the president of the association. The association is 53 years in Nigeria and about 75 years internationally. So we have about 200 members in Nigeria, made up of, like you said, lawyers, accountants, finance people, bankers, estate surveyors, property valuers like myself, brokers, realtors, agents, interior decors. So it is an amazing composition of real estate professionals across the entire ecosystem. So we give ourselves business, we learn amongst ourselves, we share knowledge, and it has been an amazing journey all through. Thank you.
So thank you for buttressing the point of how august and important you are on our set today. Thank you so much for all you've done. I always say to individuals that have developed themselves and gone to lead on the fore that your development is not just for you, but for all of us that can benefit from the impact that you bring to the table. So CEO Drawing Board, I always say we give ourselves the responsibility of waking up the African franchise market from a producer point of view. And what that means is before now, the conversations were natural around bringing franchise brands into our market in Africa. And we have them expand rapidly. But we also found that there was a slim but narrow road where we also could export our brands through the same franchise vehicle. We started the conversation strongly in 2024, woke up all the stakeholders from the AU level, ECOWAS, Pan-African Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Pan-African Organization of Small and Medium-Sized Industries. We literally got everybody else awake, and we spoke to some of those at the government level, and then actively started this group where we are calling all the players to help frame our own ecosystem in Africa. And a unique area that has not been defined is the real estate players in this matrix. So we have brands who are coming into Africa in the franchise model, and they are heavily dependent on location. In the past, because the market had not thought about it, like where you think about town planning, they literally have to take what they have. In most cases, they're renovating, redefining, or literally taking the suboptimal option. And then now we have brands who are of African origin who are jumping on the very, very fast moving opportunity of expanding their brands intercontinentally and even in country and then globally. Again, the key requirement of what you said is location is still relevant. And our question is the real estate industry aware of this market move? Are they ready? And how are they being visible to the players in the franchise ecosystem? And so that's why I called your good self to help educate the market, maybe even be the influencer in the real estate market on this conversation. So we spoke areas that we wanted to touch in this first I'll say first episode because we are coming again, right? And the three key areas were strategic positioning, right? Where does real estate come into the equation in the franchising market? The second, we spoke about the players being strategically visible. Now you're aware that this is what is required. Where are you talking? Where are you being visible to these players? And then finally, market adaptation, which is the town planning approach. How can you preempt the needs for this market that is coming in and start positioning? So, sir, please tell us firstly how a real estate person can structurally position themselves in this market and more insights that you think are relevant.
Okay, awesome. And thank you for that. I think the topic is extremely critical, especially at this time. So there are a few hats that I wear. I mentioned that I'm a board member of the African Real Estate Practitioners Alliance, AREPA.
Okay.
And I'm also a member of AFRES, African Real Estate Society. So I'll be delving and speaking to the African market the opportunities in real estate from that angle. So first of all, a lot of people, when they hear the word franchise, they kind of have the notion that it's typically more about brands, more about products, systems, and maybe even operations. But I tell people that, hey, it's all of those things and more. There's usually a strategic real estate angle to it, which they must put at the forefront of their minds when they think of about franchise. A lot of people don't even put the real estate angle into it. Every franchise needs a location. And that is where, yes, real estate players like myself can come in. We shouldn't see franchise or real estate from just a landlord or broker's perspective. No, we are the main enablers for growth and for expansion. So those things are critical. And I would also like to share two instances. So one, in my journey, maybe about 14 years now in the real estate space, there are two major brands that I work with. One of them is the Clean Ace brand. They are into dry cleaning. They've been successful because they have they've put real estate strategically in their conversations and when they speak to their clients. The other one is the Opatola Burger King brand. So things like the location, things even more of the demographic, because when I speak holistically now in terms of Africa, I say, look, this is the best time for real estate professionals to be able to think in that line. Why do I say that? Because, of course, we have the rapid urbanization taking place rapidly across the world, but more in terms in Africa. We have the population. We have a growing and very active middle class. We have extremely young, active, vibrant, energetic population, especially that middle class. We have rising consumer spending, and of course, expanding retail services sector. We've seen a lot of these brands trying to position themselves in Nigeria, and I can speak specifically for Nigeria. So it's very, very key that a lot of real estate players begin to put some of these things at the back of their minds. And when I say things like, I'm speaking about professionals now, whether you're in the facility management space, when you're speaking about property, you would need to advise your clients on service charges, the cost of diesel, the actual breakdown. These conversations can actually be the break-even factor on whether that franchise will be successful or not. So acquisition, leasing of a space, will it be better to acquire or to lease and pay year in, year out? You need to also factor in things like escalation rates. We've seen how we're living an inflation-driven economy. So what you pay this year, in the next 2 or 3 years, there will be a spike. As against if you have deep pockets and you have financial backing, you want to just buy the location. And also we need to, and we all know that successful international brands like even the McDonald's, Ray Kroc, the founder and owner, has been highly, highly successful. And everybody knows that the McDonald's brand is more of a very successful real estate business.
I was going to mention that while you were talking. The McDonald's is actually into the business of real estate, they say. Yes.
Exactly. So it makes professionals like myself, whether you're in the facility management space, advisory space, valuation and asset management space, site acquisition and selection, consultancy to client space, very, very relevant now. So let me stop there.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know, I had a brand that we facilitated. They are coming into the Nigerian markets just a month ago. We invited you to see them, and this was the make or break decision for how well they can do. It was real estate. We had to scout around to find the right real estate that will help them express the brand and allow a new brand in a new market break even without breaking the bank. So the real estate players are so required in these conversations, in these meetings, even at planning stage. And these are sort of the things that we at CEO Drawing Board had to start calling out the players to say, please, where are you now that we want to start framing and architecturing our own franchise market in Africa. The second is strategic visibility. Now, we know it is a need in the real estate market, in the franchising market, for real estate to take, and I would say the role of architecture, because every franchise thrives on its real estate strategy. You are going to exist in different markets and you're going to be housed in real estate. So the question is, as a real estate player, and like you said, you've listed the entire chain. We're talking about the quantity surveyors. You're talking about the actual developers, even the designers, interior designers, all these players. Where can they be visible to the players in the franchising industry? And how did you get visible to Burger King, for instance, where you supported them in their transition into this market? Oh, I think we have had maybe a break in transmission, probably from Mr. Akin Opatola's side. I'm sure he will join us shortly. But what we are speaking about right now is how we can wake up our real estate market to the market shift in franchising in Africa. Mr. Opatola has very graciously shared with us his experience as a real estate, I will say, real estate veteran, because this is someone who has grown from studying real estate to working in real estate to getting further information in financial services, and then went back to become a leader in Nigeria, FIABCI, and also a player across the real estate actors in Africa. And indeed, his insights is going to help you as a real estate player position. What should you do now that you know that franchises are coming in, now that you know that franchises are going out from Nigeria to other parts of the world? One of the things that we offer in the CEO Drawing Board community is this strategic visibility in the franchising industry. So we are talking to players in the GCC markets, in Europe, in the Caribbean islands, and across Africa. And we are aware of the franchises and the franchise trade and exchange through partners across the continent. And within our platform, I will put the link up. Within our platform, if you're a real estate player, you can basically get on there to create awareness of who you are. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you so much. That's fine. That's fine. So we were asking you the question, how can you be visible? What methods, not even talking about the platforms first, but what methods can you use to be visible to these critical players in the franchise ecosystem?
Okay, so there are a few things. Number one is networking. You need to be in the right space. People need to know who you are and what you do. For instance, many real estate firms, they make the mistake, they only market themselves to property owners. I may be wrong, but I feel that the real opportunity lies in becoming a trusted advisor to both the franchise sellers and the franchise buyers. So to franchisors in the house, you must offer market research, expansion planning, site acquisition, demographic studies, and of course, maybe things like even a network rollout plan. I did something similar to companies that I've spoken out for. And for me, I know you would also be doing that for those lovely Italian gentlemen that came in that I met few weeks ago. So that rollout plan is important. So strategic positioning is more about who you are, what are the services you offer. letting your clients know that, look, I also play and I can give advice and consultancy. I can hold your hands in these seemingly murky waters of looking for the right location. So my firm, have been lucky. We've been able to position ourselves as a firm that kind of understands how both business growth and how those requirements work. Like I said, we've been opportune to just do a handful of these franchise locations. We're looking for more of these opportunities, but we've positioned ourselves even in thought leadership, the type of articles we write, type of advice, the type of stages we try to climb, so that people don't just see us as real estate agents. They see us as much more, and even partners in the franchise progress. So it's not just about selling the location or the space. What are those outcomes? What are the advantages they can get from those things? So hope that answers it.
So this, I think I'm selfish about this conversation because everything you said benefits me and my ecosystem. So firstly, we're going to ask you to be a thought leader partner for the CEO Drawing Board magazine, the next edition. We certainly are going to need that. And you just woke up a light bulb in my head how I should be talking to you about Hermanos' expansion. So we are coming. But what you did, right, you hit the nail on the head, because if the real estate player is not talking in the rooms where the franchise trade is happening, we don't know you. We are going to use the old approach that we've used, where the deal of franchises has happened, and then the franchisor has to go and start looking through most inexperienced agents who will then bring you what does not work, a frustrating process before they then find place to make what they find work. And some, I'm aware of some restaurant brands who, once they get one real estate, they hold on to it, even when they're not using it, because they don't know how they will get another one. I'm aware of a brand that it has shut down, but they're still paying the lease and the rent, because if they go out of there, they might not get back in, And these are real advisory issues that need to happen to feed the market, that will place you as a trusted brand in that space and naturally a go-to. I mean, I wanted you to touch on the agents in the real estate industry and how, I mean, you are FIABCI. I don't know how regulation happens with agency, and maybe how we can get our agents to support a bit more effectively.
Okay. Let me put it this way. The real estate space is extremely saturated now. I've seen a blue ocean avenue in this kind of conversation. When you reached out to me, I think it was last year when we started this conversation, when you invited me, for the first franchise conference, even with your partners in, I think, across the Caribbean. It was fantastic.
Yes, the African Caribbean franchise exhibition we had, in Lagos.
Yeah, so it was a real eye-opener for me. And I also went to do some further research. The market is saturated. All of us cannot be facing the same direction and chasing the same type of business. I personally feel that the franchise opportunities for agents is amazing. I just got back from a trip. A lot of those foreigners too were looking at who can they trust, who understands from a knowledge and experience standpoint. So, Akin, we know you have agents and realtors here in Lagos, Nigeria, Abuja, Port Harcourt, but do they understand? Do they have the experience? Have they done some knowledge revamp in that area? So I say that to the agents that, look, they need to upskill there. It is extremely, extremely important that a lot of these franchises, they understand that, look, having a great product is lovely, but having a good location is even more pertinent. And I'll share a quick scenario with you. So when I was in banking, I got the opportunity to work on the Tantalizers brand. And a client approached me. Yes, in fact, two different clients. one of them decided he wanted to pitch his own tent and have the franchise on Adiola Odeku. Highbrow,
Okay.
high visible street, of course, comes with high rent location, while the second one had a lean pocket. But of course, his own real estate consultant advised him that, hey, why not play where there's less competition and play around the Yanopaja area, more densely populated, cheaper rents. He played there. Fast forward 6 to 8 months down the line, the client that set up space around the Adiola Deku's location was ready to fold up, was losing money year on year. Same brand, Tantalizer, same type of business, eatery, fast food. While the one in Yanopaja was having a field day and was literally milking money. Why? There was less competition there. They had done their visibility report with the aid of their real estate consultant. I was in banking. Mine was to package the facility, so I wasn't in the advisory space there. But that was like a huge eye-opener for me that, look, you need to get that location right. Tantalizer was a very popular, is a very popular eatery. So it wasn't even about the brand itself, but it was about the location. And the client used to give me that feedback. I was managing their books. I used to see what they were making. Then look, every day there in Yanopaja was like a festive period. High influx of people. Yeah. But of course, the high, we have more cerebral, more, you have more options on the agenda. So they could pick and they used to have less traffic. So all those things is what agents need to be able to understand, study, go for trainings, meet people like you also, where you can also, they can understand what the franchise model is like. Then they can now be able to play an active part and make money in an area that is less aggressive, where you have less agents stumbling over the business.
I mean, this is my why for calling you in for this conversation, because my mindset is usually when we find a problem, Fumi, go solve it. I don't wait for who is supposed to, how are we supposed to. And so the pain points we had is then what has informed us asking, can some leader in the real estate industry start preparing? I'll give you the second pain point that we had. The first you've touched on, which is for our brand, we couldn't start them up in the typical location because it's a new brand. They need real estate advisory as to where to be positioned for the first, second, third. I'm talking about the end-to-end expansion plan that we could then map and grow with. Now, the second pain point for an agent, before my second expatriate came in, we had given this agent information that we needed a warehouse. Oh, it was a horrible experience. He came and we only had 3 days. This is why real estate agents, I think they need to go to FIABCI and get trained, right? He came, we had a very stringent, what I call time frame to work with between lectures, meetings and all. And we just wanted to do viewings, tidy it up and take the warehouse. And we come to the viewings. We send the brief, we send sample videos, we come to the viewings and you're taking us to dilapidated buildings, old banks. But the brief was very clear. We want to use it for warehousing, for this structure in this way. And all they say to you is, oh, don't worry, okay, we understand now, next time. And if they're not then getting it, they're trying to convince you that, oh, it could still work, you just need to rebuild. So these are the market deficits in the agent skills that you have. They literally want to sell off to you what they have, as opposed to build in view with your goal. And is this something that FIABCI or the associations address? Maybe we should only go through the members as opposed to an agent that has been advised.
Okay, so good one. And I feel really bad for this. Your experience is a sad one. But you see, we tell ourselves all the time that they need to benchmark with global best practice. Whether you're dealing with your neighbor that needs a property or you're dealing with an international client, the experience is the experience. You see, they need to understand the brief And I felt bad as you were speaking because I know you had painstakingly gone through that brief with that agent. What we try to advise our members to do is to, first of all, understand the brief. It is not what you have that you will push to the client. So, and at that first phone call or first meeting stage, it is opportunity to ask everything possible. And I tell people that, look, there is no wrong question at that stage. Hello, good morning, Mr. James. What is your budget? How soon do you want to close? So you're already working with the timeline. What is your budget? If your budget is X naira, don't give him X plus one, for God's sake. Then they begin to get frustrated and wonder, are you really a professional? Because when they tag you a professional, it is not a badge of honor. It is not a face cap that you wear. It is actually your profile. How do you behave and act? You behave and act in such a manner that people will term you as a professional. So it's at that stage you ask every single question. Then there's nothing wrong. If by the time you go back to the drawing board, you forgot one or two things, you can go back and say, hey, Mr. James, sorry, I forgot to ask you what type of warehouse, what type of produce would you be? Because there's some warehouses that are a bit technical, you can actually split. But you, because of contamination, because of NAFDAC approvals, you will not want to put where somebody is splitting or have half of the warehouse used for agricultural products. You want to put food items there. Can it get contaminated? People can get food poisoning. So you need a proper understanding of the brief before you go to the market. So you will understand that, look, at least I understand the client's brief 80 to 90%. So when you're speaking with colleagues, where you're going online, where you're even driving through the specific areas, you will know immediately and say, oh, this particular warehouse will not be a perfect fit for my client. You will know immediately. Then that is where the advisory comes in and understanding your market, because ultimately real estate is local. I cannot be operating in my office in Dolphin Estate Ikoyi and possibly think I can give clients super options in Ulukweju or in Ikeja GRA. No, that's where the collaboration also comes in. Then
joining these groups, associations.
Yes, to the client and say, hey, Mr. James, they are 11, and you can speak confidently. There are only 11 properties, warehouses that are available for lease within your budget. There are about 7 more. See how confident I can speak when you have your numbers right, and you'll be able to partner with some other colleagues that are specialists in that area. And you can say, hey, sir, out of these 11, 5 are currently vacant. 3 will be vacant within the next 3 months. These are the sizes, these are the specifications. I currently believe number 1, number 2, number 3 will suit you appropriately. But the ones that are slightly above, hope you know we can negotiate. I'm an expert in negotiation. I can carry you to view. But even before then, I can send you pictures, videos, description. Then you can let me know after you speak to your partner or your board. You can get back to me and we can now go for physical inspections together. So you're not even taking him blind, and you're not doing the derogatory thing of, hey, sir, you can manage it now. It's not too bad. Oh, this is the best we can have. It's absolutely wrong. But so sorry for your experience. I know people go through.
You know, on the flip side, and I'm hoping these agents you described, we can find them somewhere. But on the flip side, when your team helped us get the location we used for our franchise experience dinner, we were so happy. You know, they literally tried to make sure that we got the exact place for the experience. I still remember the look on the face of your rep when he walked in. He said, you are going to like this. Yes, he knew. And you know, when we looked at the place before we even got there, he said, nope, she's not going to want this. Nope, she's not. So when he found this last place, because we found one, met the budget, but the actual owner, the staff in that building were horrible. So my wife even goes, don't worry, nope, we'll find another place. So when we got to where we're going, before entering, he was smiling gallantly, says, this is going to work. And indeed it did. It worked. It worked. And you know, we need that education that should be led from looking at the bird's eye view of where the market is going to. What you just described is the ideal real estate partner. Somebody that has the numbers of the properties in line with the goal, somebody that's pre-vetted based on negotiation, sent you everything. So when you're going there, you went there because you had a real estate partner, and it's just negotiating and then you can move in. So it's certainly something we need today. And this is a call in the real estate industry. That's why we're having this conversation for exceptional professionalism. Why I particularly didn't like it is the experience I had with the other agent is I am branding Africa, I'm branding Nigeria in a particular way. And so every experience, every touch point of experience matters. It matters for the collective brand image. So I tell people you're not your own as a professional, whatever vehicle you're using to serve. It belongs to all of us, and so you should serve with that mindset. Now, at the end of the day, people can only work with what they have, Mr. Opatola. They can only offer what they have. At a point where we then don't have these buildings that meet the general standard in the franchising market, can we go into the town planning conversations? Can we ask for our developers to build with view for this incoming market? Again, with the case in point of the brand that I brought in, we couldn't find what they were looking for in the major areas. And I'm sure this is why advisory is even needed much more, because it's like you're looking for a needle in a haystack right now. So what can we do in the town planning area for the franchising industry in Africa? How can we create a market that can invite more brands in, invite the trade? And there's something so key you said about the two brands that you facilitated from the finance point of view. One that did well because the location was right, the price was right, the brand wasn't drowned in that location. And another who packed up. So we're saying location is critical. What can we do? It's almost like that mortgage conversation for residential. So what can we do? You're the expert, so you need to tell us.
Okay, so I think a lot more needs to be done, even as regards deep conversations with all aspects with all stakeholders.
Okay.
So yes, from the government, you mentioned the town planners. As an association, FIABCI, what we like to do is engage government at all levels.
Okay.
Last month, I was with the new Minister of Housing at Abuja. We've met with the governor of Lagos State, the commissioners of especially physical planning and housing in Lagos State. So it's important that they also know and understand, because it's a major challenge, even in your regular stereotype residential accommodation. And the case in point is the analogy you just gave of when you were specific. Akin, come, you and your team, this is exactly what we need to curate this experience. So imagine if we had come back to you and say, Fumi, we're so sorry, this is currently not available. Imagine how that would be. You would have had to either cancel it altogether or try to retrofit with what was available, which is not nice. And we see that frustration even with the consumers that we have here. Some are looking for nice, newly built 3-bedrooms with 2 rooms, 7 squatters, because they have a chef, they have a driver, they have a nanny. It's not available. The only thing that's available is 1-room boy squatters. So I'm happy you've touched on it, because our developers also need to build to suit the market and not the other way around.
Thank you.
We build and wait and say, one day, then they are wondering, they are losing money on a monthly basis. People are not coming. They are putting marketers like myself under pressure. But if you get a sense and you speak to agents that are knowledgeable, especially the ones that are working with nice franchise organizations like yours, they can advise them so that they can also build properties, buildings, products that are well suited for the franchise market. Let me give you some information and a few statistics. So a great franchise in a poor location may fail, but a decent franchise in an excellent location is likely to also thrive.
reality.
So and this is where we also advise on the two sides. We have landlords, we have property owners that we let them know what franchising is all about. Oh, okay, what is this? Sir, you can actually, it's almost like a joint venture. You can actually make good money by giving your property to this specific clientele. We advise them and they see the rent roll and the return on investment. I said, oh, wow, this is not bad. Then they end up thanking you. That's where the advisory comes in too. So you see, we need to take what we do a step higher and stop playing on the mundane. Yes, the world is changing very fast. So even the way we play real estate must also change. We need developers that can even build floor spaces that are flexible. COVID brought a lot of disruption, especially in the commercial and retail spaces. Back in the days, we had commercial buildings in VI, Ikoyi, Ikeja, GRA that were made to measure. If you're not interested, 500 square meters, then that's it. But COVID saw that, hey, people were working remotely from home and they were even successful. So even after the flexi work, people were saying, hey, maybe a certain portion of my workforce can actually work outside the office. Remotely.
Yeah.
Then the ones that come in who might not need that large space. So commercial buildings that were not flexible suffered, and they're still suffering today.
Yeah.
So
you see them standing, looking dilapidated. Yep.
Thank you very much. And they become vacant for years. But now developers are saying, hey, even if I have a floor plate that is 200 square meters, 300 square Hello, can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. I think there was an internet glitch for a while there.
So if a client comes and say, hey, I'm interested in your space, but I only have a 10-man team. Can I get a 25? Can I get a 30 square meter space? Then that developer or the investor or the property owner can say, oh, yes, we can give you this. We're flexible in our space so that their building also remains resilient and also relevant, especially in this changing time. So real estate agents too must know, because we are the first point of call to advise these developers and say, hey, if whatever you're building, make sure it's flexible and you can meet the needs and requirements and demand of this consumer clients.
So I reported all of them to the right person. You were the right person to bring their matter to, because we are really, really getting to the nitty-gritty of the solution points here. So firstly, we said introducing the franchising, African franchising market to real estate players, understanding that this market is being framed and it rests heavily on location. And you're not a passive player in this market. You should be an active player in this market. We want you to come in to the space, the ecosystem, from the advisory and even planning point of view with the upcoming franchises, because some of them will fail without your presence or without your advisory. We've also spoken to these players in the real estate industry on how to get visible, where to get visible. CEO Drawing Board is a platform that is building that visibility opportunity. We go to events, we distribute our magazines, and we have platforms where we pull the franchisors and the franchisees. So we're inviting the real estate players to come into this intersect. I mentioned to you about Cairo, which is Franex, an event that I'm co-hosting with the organizers in the Middle East. We've moved this event forward twice, but we're finally having it in Cairo on the 1st to 3rd of July. And the real estate players here, you can either come for exposure, which is understand this market, where it is thriving. You can come to meet potential investors who you can offer this advisory as they're coming in to the African market because they need you, right? And you can send your brand with us, and then we can expose you there and then on our platforms. The other thing that is coming soon is a platform for trade. And the platform will be opened at the end of July. And once that platform is open, all real estate players that are on our platform will get access to this. So this is where you can make visible franchise ready locations to those who are on the platform to trade. In conclusion, the conversation started today, but it certainly doesn't end. It's opened up the work that we must do. There's a lot of professionalism required in the real estate market or the real estate world that I'm sure that Mr. Akin Opatola is equipped to do with the associations that he's a part of. There's a call from the government point of view because of town planning, developers. We would hope that these conversations will continue in these pockets of groups of individuals so that we can call on them at the intersect where the franchisor and the franchisee is meeting, and they will give professional service. There's one word that you said that is most important in this trade, and it's trust. You said they want somebody that they can trust, because expansion thrives on that currency. It means that when my 10th franchisee needs to get a location, I wouldn't jump on a plane to go there. I already trust you to advise. It means that I've mapped out my 25 locations or my 100 locations. You have made plans for me, for the ones you have now, and built for me ahead of my expansion plan. And so I am comfortable with my expansion in your hands. And I will expect the same level of professionalism that you gave me with the first location at the 100th location. And these are the conversations that we want to elicit in the real estate industry. We said we want to ask you, Mr. Opatola, to be the thought leader lead on our CEO Drawing Board magazine. We produce it twice a year. It's not a magazine that we distribute on social media or everywhere. It's purposely placed at the intersect of franchisors and franchisees. So we take it to our exhibitions, we take it to the clusters where they exist, and that's where the magazine goes. So we'll be very happy for you to write in that magazine for us. And then we invite the players in your association to start positioning. What does next steps look like after a conversation like this, sir?
Okay, good. So it'll be my pleasure to contribute a little bit of my experience in the magazine. I think it's a very good one, and also helps me. So it's also very strategic for me to also be able to position myself and my firm properly in the right space. So what I think is excerpts of this video I will share, yes, with a lot of my networks. I think I can guarantee you maybe between 15 to 20 professionals, FIABCI members, senior colleagues that will be able to join on this conversation. They understand the trust level, they understand the experience that the franchisor client needs to have. I would also find out one or two of my colleagues, FIABCI members also, that won't mind joining to attend that event in Cairo. Yeah, so if you can please share with me again, that would be nice. I would also, maybe between myself and your team that are on the back of this webinar, if we can bring out some fine points, especially from the agent's standpoint, that look, if you can do this, almost like a bullet point, then you have a whole plethora of real estate opportunities you can play in the franchise sector of real estate. Is a new thriving area that is extremely lucrative. A lot of people are not playing there. A lot of people don't know. But if you can do these, so it's almost like a checklist. I can do this. I can do this.
I was just going to say, we're going to do franchise because we do this franchise readiness workshop for founders now. So we can do a franchise readiness for agents. That's fine.
Wow.
That's fine.
Franchise ready. I think that's a lovely one. So I think to me, those will be the immediate next steps. And we're ready to work together with you along those lines.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your personality first. You built it independent of me. So thank you for being that person. Thank you for the experience. And you sort of give a shoulder to cry on when we have people to report, in the real estate industry. Thank you for that. And the insights were so apt. They are the solutions we were looking for this market, because you understand it. You've advised those in franchising. You mentioned 2 brands, even restaurants. You understand the critical nature of the location in this ecosystem. And of course, CEO Drawing Board is a Pan-African platform. So these videos are going to go on all the platforms where we are present. And so they know that, okay, there is a real estate body. Because I mean, before these brands came in, this is why I'm strong about Brand Africa and Brand Nigeria. They were told about how professionalism unprofessionalism, is rampant. They were told all sorts of stories, you know. And it's not so. It's just we were not developed in that area. We're not ready for you. So now we want us to be ready so that when the influx comes, we all basically thrive and grow together. I want to say thank you for this conversation with me in this 1 hour. I'm going to take away my homework. So I will send you all the information you need for Franex in Cairo. We will also do the touch points and then create something like a franchise readiness for agents and developers package. We'll certainly send that to you. It will be helpful for the capacity building that needs to happen in the real estate industry in line with this. And then we'll also send you the material to start writing for us at the CEO Drawing Board magazine. We will certainly need that. What do you want our viewers to go away with today after hearing us? And we have viewers who are investors. We have viewers who are founders, franchise founders. We have franchisees. Obviously, we've sent this out to also real estate players. What do you want our audience to go away with after this conversation today?
Awesome. So I had also penned some final thoughts, which I will share. So I'm happy. I was hoping you're going to ask me. So I'm happy that that you've asked. So my final parting thoughts will be: the future of franchising in Africa will not only be built by brands, it will also be built by the real estate professionals. Those are the brands that help find the right places to grow. That's 1. 2, the franchise industry typically asks the question, how do you replicate success? Real estate answers, where should that success live? The future belongs to those that can answer both questions. Thank you so much for me. It's been a pleasure.
Very, 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 very beautiful. So apt. I'm sure my audience agrees with me that you were the right person to speak to today. Very important. August, not ceremonially, but he has the stuff behind the name. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, sir. And in closing, we'll be saying thank you to our audience for joining in, for listening in on CEO Drawing Board. We told you that we're setting up a platform to create the insights in the African franchise ecosystem as we build publicly. All the players that need to come together to make our ecosystem thriving, to give our African franchise founders the confidence to start, the support to scale and to grow. And indeed, real estate is a key conversation here. Thank you for joining in. Click the follow button on our YouTube channel today to ensure that all the good stuff comes to you. Subscribe if you haven't, and thank you for joining today. My name is Funmilola Adedeji Bajulaiye OET. I'm the president at ACR Global and the host of CEO Drawing Board. God bless you. And don't forget the daughter of the Holy Spirit herself.